Hello, everyone. Where we left off last time, I believe we were partway through making we were partway through making 10 rounds of 30 stitches each, which sounds like a lot, but it goes pretty quickly. Okay. And this is progress so far, which looks pretty small. And it's important to remember this is the tail, the actual body doesn't start until here. But I like it because it reminds me kind of a little cuddly figurine. I also wanted to tell you guys, you know what I listen to while I'm crafting sometimes, also while I'm baking? It was Berserk. I think that's very funny and an underrated choice that more people should listen to Berserk while they're doing handicrafts or making cookies. While I'm at work, also, I do something similar. I curse my coworkers with animal facts. And last time I got to tell them about our Lord and Savior, the leaf sheep, which, if you don't know, is not a leaf or a sheep. It's a sheep bug that's like 2 inches long and really poisonous. But it looks sort of like a sheep because it has like a fluffy shape and it has these little protrusions on it that look like leaves, which it uses to gather energy from the sun. It's the world's only known photosynthesizing animal, which is super cool. For the dragon we're making today, though, it's inspired by the mother of pearl moth. And I really want to know why their ears are. Because I think, technically speaking, like a lot of butterflies this one specifically looks like mother of pearl, which is obviously how it got its name, where the colors are like changing a little bit. And I want to know why that is, because I feel like that would make you more visible to your animals, right? But maybe it helps it blend in its natural habitat. I also don't know where these moths live. So I want to know, not just in Mars, how did nature evolve like iridescence? How is it helpful? It's also a little hard to stuff this right now, but I think I should be able to once I've added more and we're out of this part and we're like thinking of. We're just going to go a little while with it looking like a kind of, not the kind of stuff they're thinking of. I think we'll probably be able to use up this whole ball of yarn too, which is good because we've had it for a long, long time. And then I have a whole other ball of this color that I don't know what to do with right now. So I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. And I have idea where in the future I'll get out a bunch of my fabrics and just show them to you guys and go like, hey, what do you like to do with this? Because they have a lot of materials that I think are cool, but I don't know what to do with them. And that goes for my yarn too. So I might get out all my yarn and be like, hey guys, what do you think I could do with this yarn? Especially the orange that's so neon, it hurts my eyes. There's not enough of it to make a whole thing. I can't wait to make all the little wings for this. They're so cool. I might skip to that once I finish the body and do at least some of them. With another one. Another thing that I might do is get out like jewelry supplies and show it. I just don't have as much of it because I only got into it more recently. I'm just running out of space in my fabric stores too, so I think I gotta use my fabric. It takes some time, but I might focus more on making pillows. Because a few years ago, I made a bunch of granny squares I didn't know what to do with. And then I realized, well, they're square. I could turn them into a pillow. And I thought, what am I going to use for the back? Well, I have this massive collection of fabric. I might as well use that. This is going to be so tough. Wow, this looks like some kind of flower. It looks like it's standing like this. It's not, but I could probably make like a flower garden one day. That blows my mind about Berserk is how many people were inspired by it before it was over. Because remember, it still isn't over today. And in like the 90s and the early 2000s, so many people were inspired by it. And it was like halfway through and made their own things inspired by it. It's absolutely crazy to me. Also, the big three are two Gokos and a gut. That's why Bleach didn't hit the same target audience as the others, and it probably should have been marketed as a seinen. Also, for anyone that's new here, I'm stuffing this with scrap yarn and fabric cut up really small so that it's soft. And that's because I have tons of it. And if you just throw it away, that just ends up in a landfill. That's just more plastic pollution. So we want to make use of it. I have another project I'm working on right now that is also stuffed with scrap fabric and yarn, but I want to keep that a secret. So it's all can't be super, super cute though. Just using both crocheting and sewing, which I want to do more of. 3 more rows of this, and then we'll start going back and forth to create the belly. I also saw some people pointing out recently how Berserk is really, really good at making subtle facial expressions. And I hadn't figured out like how to explain it before, but that's absolutely something that I really admire about it. There's a lot of comics will go very exaggerated, and it's not a flaw. That's just how the comics industry tends to work. And in this series, it's deliberately choosing to have characters' expressions stay very human, very even subdued, that you can still tell like the changes in how someone's feeling. Like Gus usually isn't very loud, like unless he's doing a big fight. He doesn't usually say how he's feeling, but you can tell how he's feeling by looking at his face or his body languages and stuff. And that's a skill. That's not like easy to do. So I'm really impressed by it. What I was thinking of iridescent. One of my yarns that I'm using for this project is also shiny, which is one of the reasons I decided to use it. And I want to know how you do that in yarn. I don't know how you make fiber shiny. Because it's not like tinsel yarn. All of the yarn is just like slightly shiny, like a pearlescent. so flat. It'll look normal later. You don't have to say ugly things in teaching or drawing and you have to trust the process. That is also true in crochet. It's just how it is. Okay, 2 more rows of this. This is the project I'm working on. I'll tell you a little more about it. It's not just crocheting and sewing. It also uses a couple of more things that I have, like embroidery. And I think that's really cool. It's something I want to do more of, is combining the different crafts that I'm into. I might post like a silhouette of it and have everyone guess what it is because I think it would be fun. I just have to figure out how to do that. Like, that's fun, but then everyone would think it was a Pokemon, so I don't know. What's the first, speaking of Pokemon, one of the first things that I crocheted entirely on Steam was a Flabébé, which was a very complex project that took a long time, and I'm super proud of it. It's super cute. So I might do more posts about it. That was back when I was really first starting to do content, so I think I didn't pick it up enough. It's already growing. So that's the thing about this is because the dragon is going to be kind of small, the wings won't be that much bigger than a real mother of pearl moth. I thought about this like with fairies before, like make them the size of the wings that they have. That could be cute. All right, one more. When we go back and forth, we're not just going to be going back and forth. We are also going to have some rows in the round, but I think it's flat to help shape the sewing. I'll have to use kind of small 60 eyes for this, but luckily that's the sizing we have. And I don't have a ton of the backing because mine are like empty downs. I just found them in a closet somewhere. So I want to use them up, but I think I'm gonna have to like sew in the safety eyes using my tried and true method. Because I've tried adding them in with like fabric glue and it doesn't work. Like fabric glue is specifically designed for things like this, but it did not work on the safety eyes. I do want to try making more humanoid dolls too. I found these really cute patterns with this Strawberry Shortcake Girl, but not right now. Because I'm kind of on this mission that I gave myself to like use up as much of my materials I have right now as I can before I get new ones, at least my yarn. Because I collected it for a long time without having like a specific use in mind. And now it's kind of just piled up, so I don't want it to go away. That means they have a lot of green, which I don't really like using. So I'm trying to figure out ways to do it. I might make a frog. I think frogs too. I also have a lot of gray. I got like an assortment of colors. I have no idea what to do with the gray. I used it to make a little cat doll, so I might make some more of that, like more of the like multiples of the cat doll. Okay, now we're going back and forth. Although I ran out of some of the colors I used for that doll. Like I don't have the same pink anymore. I am getting. I also have tons of yellow. Like I think it's logically a normal size point of the yellow, but it seems like it's never ending. And I used a bunch of it in the secret project, which I like. But I still have so much bit left over. I also have yellow felt that I've had for like 8 years. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll make some kind of sun. So that's how I'm looking at a lot of my projects right now is like, what can I make with what I already have? For example, I knew I had these colors, and I was like, okay, I like how these colors look together. What can I make with them? And I looked at them and I looked at them and I was like, this reminds me of Mother of Pearl. And then I thought about this butterfly driving pattern and I was like, oh, it's Mother of Pearl moth. So here what we did is we did 12 single crochet. Now we're doing 12 single crochet. Okay. This for stuffing this more so. After this, we're going to do another row just in the round. Once this is done, it will be your circle too. with the neighbors. I think that's enough pattern that we'll probably be working on it for a few weeks. So let's go through this and then continue. I don't want it to like stretch out, but I do want this to not feel like keep flopping either. Right. So now we're another round of just 30 single crochet. The thing like drawing is where baby dragons are about this size, and that's just so cute to me. This dragon is going to be named Pearl. The other butterfly dragon that I made is named Strawberry because she's bright red. You can right now you can buy strawberry online, and I'm in the process of moving everything over to my Kofi because I've had some bad experiences with Etsy and it's home. So soon you should be able to consider. Same for the Dragon Tooth Pearl. I've also seen some people add like little beads or jewelry onto their plushes, and I think that's a really cool idea. Like that's what I did with my Amelia Mermaid that I made last year. And I sewed little pearls onto her comb or her tail or wherever I thought she needed decoration. First, we're going to do some more back and forth. I think it's going to be alternating for a little bit. What's one that I tried recently was I used cat yarn to make these little tabby cats, and I think they're super cute. One of them is like orange, pink, and green because I had this super cute yarn. It was called Pretty Fruity. It was in the colors white, pink, orange, green, and yellow. Super cute, but I did not have enough of it to finish the whole pattern. So I just picked up my other yarn that was in those colors and switched between all of those through the pattern. So I think it ended up being super cute. Maybe rainbow. What's the fabric? Where? Oh, yeah. So now we're going to start decreasing this round a little bit. Not a ton, but we're getting up to more of the neck area. All I need to finish this skirt project is spray check because I do not have any. And that means that often when I make something with fabric and like maybe it's too small, for example, hemming it is very difficult. It starts spraying even like as I'm sewing it, and it's just very painful. So it'll make it more durable too. So once I spray check the edges of all the fabric and stuff, then I show it to you. There are some box supplies that I have legit had for like 10 years and carried around with me for like multiple moves. And in retrospect, that might have been silly, but I'm also glad I didn't just like throw them away. So I'm trying to use them up now. I realize usually when I talk to people at work, like if I'm talking to customers, I push my Facebook, and it's what I'm trying to stop doing because I think it's part of masking. Like that's the way I usually heard people sound. Like that's how I heard. other like free coworkers when I was little, but it's not how my voice actually. My normal speaking voice sounds more like this, but a bit less worn out. It's cold, and so my throat is kind of funny. Example of jewelry supplies that I want to use. I had this like costume jewelry ring with a little butterfly on it. And this was like just glued onto the band. It was not very secure. So now it's fallen off like multiple times, and I just have the butterfly stored in my jewelry supplies. And I still think it's really pretty, so I want to use it. It's just like, what do I do with it? I also I don't really wear rings very often because I work with my hands so often. It's not really practical. So I feel like I should attach it to something else, like find a way to make it into a necklace. I just have to figure out how. Because it doesn't have like a loop on the back. And if if I had to attach like a jump ring to it, I would need to glue it on with like double extra turbo strength. I used to have Gorilla Glue, but I don't remember where it went. So I might have to use E6000 and just like attach it, let it cure for like 48 hours for safety. I don't know. Right, more back and forth now. Let's say I made the I made the pointless dragon pattern, which has antennae, just like the butterfly dragon pattern. And what I did there was I just crocheted the antennae and I like bent them into a scroll shape and sewed them there. So I think I'll do that for this pattern too, because apparently what it has you do is use pig fingers, but I do not have those. But construction, the dress looks a little like a snake. And there is this kind of snake dragon pattern I found recently that I think is super cute. So I do want to do it. I just kind of want to like point out it's not a snake. It'll look more like a dragon and less like a dinosaur once it gets to all the other pieces, you know? Oil my sewing machine. The only problem is I don't know how to oil a sewing machine and I don't know what you use specifically because I'm very new to having it. So I feel like I need to do research and I'm just like, where do you learn that stuff? Like maybe Singer has some kind of help article. I wish I knew more people who sewed because I feel like they could just tell me this stuff in person. It's like a closed up rose. Good thing I like roses. Another thing that's kind of happening with my craft supply right now is I don't have a full skein of most of my yarn because when it got like handed down to me, for example, it would have been already used a little bit. And that does make it a little bit hard to decide like which project should I use this on. So it'll usually say like one skein of this, two skeins of this, and I'll be like, I don't have exactly that amount. So that's why I'll do things like the tabby cat, where it's more random and things don't have to be set. But basically, what I want to do with this is set an example with things like cycling and using what you already have. Because even if I'm not like perfect at it, I just want to show that that's a thing you can do. You don't have to constantly buy new things and consume things. That's just not going to work long term. Time for more stuff in a minute. So that's why I have like this orange plaid fabric. It's a scrap fabric that I use to make mock-ups for doll clothes. And because of that, I ended up with lots of strips of it. So I cut it up tiny, 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 and then using the stuffing. So here's the thing. So in the next row, we're going to be doing some single crochet for like half of the round, and then the rest of it is going to be front loops only, but not the whole round. Remember this part of the pattern. Let's see how that goes. One, two, three. Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me fix it real quick. 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. So the 12 stitches are all going to be front loops only. Then you get those really first ads for Fruit Loops. I don't really understand why their whole like brand identity is being crazy. I don't know, maybe like little kids find it funny. I'm just confused. Also, if you're seeing the Applejack's mascots, those guys are scary. Those do not make me want to buy the cereal. They make me want to run away from the cereal. You, I have tried it a couple of times. It's just kind of boring. All right. The next time we're going to be doing a lot of double crochet. And I lost wrote this pattern a little bit ago, so I'm actually not sure, but I think basically what we're doing is we're changing the stitch length as we're getting up to the neck. We're trying to like shape it. Fourteen. Yeah, I think we're probably going to use up this whole ball of yarn, which I personally find very exciting because I have had this for years. Once I've used up the stuff that I already have, I want to get like really fun yarn, like sparkly yarn or something. I think that would be really fun. I have this sparkly white yarn that I used to make in alchemy. I think it's super cute. I don't think I did it on stream. It's a while ago, but she's super cute. I love her. Alchemy is one of my favorites. I'm going to do a row of slip crochet on top of the top of crochet. Once this is done, it's going to look super different because it's going to be so much more detailed. And I don't know if the pattern maker who is Holly's Yarn Creations, I don't know if she also draws, but it really reminds me of making a drawing. You start with like a sketch or when you're making a sculpture. And you start with just a vague idea and then you tighten up the lines that you want to keep, you add more detail, you add colors, things like that. Like in this pattern, we'll almost literally be drawing lines because we're gonna be embroidering on the wing. I think that's really cool. There are a couple more rows I think we'll start stuffing again. Just stuffing it a little bit at a time so that we don't lose the shape. Just while we're going back and forth, we'll get kind of these between the stitches too. So if they stay back backy, I'll just sew them up when it's all done. In this pattern, we are going to, in this plush, we're going to be using purple to add like the lines on the wings instead of black. Because this is a tiny bit of black yarn left, but it's not the right weight, and I'm not sure I have enough to finish and like draw on the wings. Google it. Look, I'm really excited for it. Wait, they subscribe to me, and chat. I just turned off like non-subscribers being able to chat because they need more subscribers. See, stop. I've already gotten like two creeps in my chat and I have less than 100 subscribers. Not only is this hurtful, it is confusing. What are you doing? Yeah, I expect to remember this part. It might look like a little like knee, but this is the belly and this is going to be the knee. Working. Do it or stuffing. Very slow and deliberate because if you like overstuff something, it can lose the shape really quickly. I don't want this to just look like a random blob. I want it to look like a little wizard, you know, with wings. Especially when I'm stuffing the face of a toy. There have been times where like I stuff it too much and it doesn't look like a face anymore. It just looks like a round ball. So I want to be careful. I did have this old white piece that I used for a project, and now the scraps of that are going into this. It's interesting because I recognize most of where these like yarn and fabric work, which is older projects, and now they're going into a new project, and that's really cool to me. A little bit. Well, so here we go so far. I wasn't kidding when I said it looks sort of like a dinosaur or a team. Now we're going to do, okay, now we're switching back mostly to, okay, for the next couple rounds, we're just going to crochet around, and then we're going to do more half double crochet. Right now, we only have 24 stitches around, so this will go a bit quicker. Nice and tightly, so it's very sturdy. Another thing that happens in this pattern is you make bowing armor. You make like this plate that you still want to the belly. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do that because I'm not sure if I have enough purple yarn for it. But if I do, I will. So I'll just leave it until like the end of the pattern and see how much yarn I have. Interesting. So next round, we're doing more double crochet and loop. I wonder if anyone's made like these insect dragon patterns with like 6 limbs because I think that would be cool. I saw the same author has a pattern called Caterpillar, where it's a cat and also a caterpillar. So I want to make one of those one day, but obviously I need to finish this right now. I'm already working on 2 projects. It's so cute, and she uses like chenille yarn for it, so it's super big and fluffy. check how much more we have left of this part. So this will be done, the torso, in just a couple rounds. Then I have some other stuff to do today, so we might get started on one of the things, and then we'll be done. For today, we'll probably come back and work on this again next week. One, three, six, nine, 10, 15. Okay. Okay. So ordinarily in the pattern, you would obviously start making the head next, but I want to make the wings. We do this to make little head wings too, which I think are super cute. We will obviously do the head eventually. I just think the wings are really cool. Obviously, once we're done the neck, we do need to stuff it a bit more. I don't want it to like flop around. Okay. Thing about when you do single crochet on top of double crochet is it kind of like it shapes almost like a seal. It makes the row above look tighter. That's why you'll see it a lot on the outside of frames where it's like a border. And I think that's why it's the last row of the neck here is to help make it a little bit more solid. So that when you add the head on top, it's less likely to just flop or fall to the side. stitch marker that I'm using, by the way. It was originally one of the set. I don't know what happened to the others, but it's bright neon green, which does make it difficult to read. So whenever I'm like, I can't find my stitch marker, I see it shining at me from like the depths of my sewing bag, and I'm like, oh, there you are. I could never forget you. So I think we are going to need to leave a long tail sewing. Maybe still on the head. I don't. Where did I put my needle? It happens every time. Okay. Doing the invisible fast enough. Or we're gonna flip a bit more. If we tried to sew the head on like this, it would go. These fabric straps are actually from when I decorated my put fabric on it. Another thing that we might do is stuff the neck as we're sewing it to the head, because that will help keep the stuffing in. Right now it could just like fall out because there's not as much of a width. So this is what we have so far, and I might sew up these little areas once we're done because there's funny gaps between the stitches, but not too bad. Here's the you can sew up later. As you can see, so the sewing is like slightly funky because it's made in back and forth rows instead of in the round. And I think that's one of the reasons why we put the plate on it is to show like, but it's also not like it's not like hugely weird looking. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay. Now a long pattern, but there's so many details. So let me flip through some. So we're only going to do a little bit of the wing because I have other things to do today. But I want to get started on it, and we're going to start in the purple. 1 second. It'll start also with a chain. Okay. This is a purple yarn. I used to make another little kitty doll named Mulberry, which is super cute. Someone bought her recently. And I just still have so much of it that I have to find something to do with the rest of it. So I'm glad I have this. Another fun thing about the wings is you get to switch colors a lot. That's something I have fun doing. Feel the design. Three, three, four. We will start going around, I think. Yeah. So we will need the stick marker eventually, but we're starting with a chain. I'm really lucky to have a lot of yarn that's like the same brand, the same weight. It's all the same yarn in different colors, which means it's very comparable to my other yarn. But then I have a few that are like twice its weight or different texture or something. And that's harder to figure out what to do with. I don't know what it's called, but I've done this thing before in crochet where you start with the stitch and you start on the front of the chain and then you also crochet in the back of the chain. That happens a lot. So that's how this wing is starting. We're not going like all the way on the back of the chain this time. So we have to like use it a little bit, I think. Once in a while, I think about the crazy armor designs in Berserk too. Like I totally forgot about the guy who's supposed to look like a whale, and I get that in person, it would be scary. But in like a picture, it's just like, wow, you really did that in medieval times when it's much harder to access this metal. Like that's almost funny. So I have to do team, 9, 12, 14, 15. Quit. 2, 3, 34 stitches because we're counting the bumps on the back. And then I think we're going to increase next. then we do another 15, then we increase again, and then we do 17. Okay, I think that's it. Okay. It's very complicated, so I'm focusing on it really closely. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. Okay, I'll add a 15. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. Sometimes you have to increase again. You count on this side how many is there. Once you're all done this, I think you're gonna have to count all the way around. Oops, let's done this row. You're gonna have to count all the way around to make sure you have the right number of stitches. And because I had to increase at the end, it did make a little hole, so I'll probably have to sew that one. See how it looks like a little oval? I think what we're gonna do is go around, and then we're gonna go around, and then we're gonna like decrease as we go down, and it's gonna form almost like a pocket that's like hollow in the middle, and that's gonna be the wing. 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, now let's count around. We're supposed to have 36 stitches. And with one round of the going back and forth, because I just want to show what that'll start to look like. 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. Okay, there's slightly too many. Mm, how many too many? Hold on. 6, 9, 12, 24, 25, 30, 30, 30, 30. Okay, there's not so many. So I'll just do this a couple of times because at the end of the day, although I think it was just to increase it, will be what this is. Six, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33. Hmm. Oh, hold on, let me get this stitch marker so I can keep track of where I started. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 15, 16, 9, 12, 17. Okay. 3, 6, 9, 12, 16. Okay. Well, there needs to decrease a couple. 'Cause accidentally increased both too many times. I do really like this shade of purple. It's so warm and pretty. It reminds me of those blueberries. I could continue on through this. I realize this does not look like a wing, but we're gonna be like this is the top, and then we're gonna go this way. All right, now let's count again. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 34. All right, let's add a couple more. Yeah. I want to make sure I have the number of stitches right here because this is like the foundation of the whole wing. So I feel like if I goof it up, then it'll look like Sponsor Weird. So we're going to be switching back and forth quite a lot during at least this part of the wing to create the kind of like striped or varied look. One we're gonna do 3 stitches right, and I'm definitely gonna mark my first stitch in this row because it's easy to lose track. To look a little like a swallowtail, where their wings have like the black edge. 1, 2, 3. This is gonna get a little tangled for a while, but we only need to do this for a couple of rows, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Another, we're gonna keep going back and forth with 3s for a while, but the next row is like 1 to 5, so we might do 2. Now it just looks like little blocks, but we're gonna make like triangles. So here we'll have like 5 stitches of weight, and that'll make this wider. Okay, when we get to the end of this row, we're gonna end with 2 stitches of purple. But I think that's because we started with 1, so together they'll make 3. In crochet, you do sometimes have to do a little bit of math, but luckily there's like clear direction. I love these colors together. They're so pretty. I don't, I actually don't really use like purple and white a lot when I'm drawing, but I might start doing it more just because I really like it. So here's my starting to like twist together, but I will mostly be using white for the rest of the wing. So once I'm done just like these couple of rows, I should be able to just cut this off and it won't be dismantled. I'm also not using this because we're switching back and forth so often, it doesn't really make sense. So I won't have as many ends. Another thing that I want to do once I've done this is maybe spray it a little bit. And I'm not sure what with, but I might add like little beads. They're making a little dragon plush that's meant to look like a mother. I always wonder how people make patterns. To me, it seems like a quick art. Realistically, it's probably not that complicated. Like you have to try so many things. There's so much trial and error. How do people like how do you learn that, for example? You see how this is getting really wide? That's because we're going to fold it over. We're almost done this first stripey row. That's how it looks so far. Funnily enough, it does remind me a bit of a caterpillar. All right. Again, we're going to end this with 2 stitches of purple. These colors sort of remind me of candy. I feel like it would make like a delicious like grape soda and you could like drink it. So next we're gonna start with 5 stitches of white to go over this and make this sort of triangle shape. And once we're done that row, we will be done with it. I will come back and work on this again next week though. Later this week, actually tomorrow, I am going to be finishing another painting because we made these paintings that are mixed media where I use like old jewelry as decoration. And one of I thought it was done with, but then I looked at it more and I was like, this is a little plain. So I do want to go back and add some more detail. And that'll be at the same time tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So how I'm switching colors back and forth is by doing like part of a stitch and then finishing it. Color. 'In between these amounts of white, we're just going to have 1 stitch of purple to separate them. two, three, four, I really wanna know, how does Holly figure this out? Like, how do you there are occasionally times when I look at something and I'm like, "Okay, that would just be, like, a row of single crochet," or that would probably have to do, like, triple crochet to get the height or something, but I wonder how she figured out how to do this design, how to make this look like a bunch of little arrows, because I would not have been able to figure that out. That's so cool. Right? I may have to put this bit sooner. 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Five. Almost the end of this row. Next, we're pretty much just going to use the white once we're done doing the stitching, because what we're doing here is creating the border using purple, and then most of the wing will be white to match the body. All right. We will need to tie this off and weave in the ends a little bit, but it should be as usual. The grease that takes up a lot of time. We're going to end with just one circle. But this is the widest part of the wing. which means the overall ring will be pretty smooth, match the body. Most project scissors are so heavy, because they have to cut perfect. Every once in a while, I pull them out and I'm like, this could be an anime weapon. Okay, I'm gonna do kind of a physical decrease, but I don't want to mistake it for a stitch. And spray off. For now, it kind of looks like just two stitches here, so I'll just make a little note. This is what the back looks like. This will be on the inside. So we don't have to worry about people seeing it. But if you see all these little loops here, ordinarily, each of these little joins would have ends, and I would have to cut those off and tie them up. So that's why I avoided doing that as well. Will become yarn scraps, which I can use. All right, this we have to tie. I feel like I'm kind of paranoid about leaving my ends in, but I just don't want this to fall apart. So this is the start of the thing. I'm going to fold it over like this. So this is the border and the actual body of the wing from these white triangles. So we'll continue that next week. And it's probably several more weeks once it's finished. You can buy this on my Ko-fi. I'll have it in the description. Yeah. tomorrow we will be coming back to do another painting at the same time. So I'll see you